What's up, everybody? I apologize. My neighbor's super handy with power tools, so he's doing some projects over there, so this might have a little bit of background noise, but we'll live. So today what we're going to do is we are going to swap the bars on my fat quad from the stock SE. I'm going to move this real quick. The stock SE big honkin' bars to the Jakob Santos BrokeBoyzBMX 4-piece bars. My son usually rides this bike more than I do, and I want him to see what it's like to ride a little bit taller bar because he's a taller guy. He's actually as tall as I am, so I was just sitting around like, man, what can I do to make his bike riding more enjoyable? And I think that'll help. So the steps to taking off, basically this is a really easy how to remove handlebars from a bike. And there's basically you need to do 1, 2, 3 things. You need to remove the handlebars, remove the grips, and remove the brake levers, and then do a full swap. So I'm going to walk you through that process. It's real simple. You need 2 sets of tools because I have the KnightBikeCo stem. So some of these are metric, some of these are standard, and so you got to have 2 sets of tools to make this work. So I'm going to walk you through it. Let's get so I'm going to walk you through it. Let's get got hiccups. All right, I'm going to walk you through it. Let's get started. So I just started filming and got the hiccup, so this is going to be the funniest video we've ever seen, probably. I drank some water, maybe that fixed it, I don't know, we'll see. But we're going to walk you through removing the grips, the bars, and the levers. Let's go. So over here, this one I've already loosened up. Now I love lock-on grips for this one reason. I don't need, in the old days, I would have to take off the bar ends here, and then I would have to stick, in my day, we'd stick a screwdriver in here, lift it up, spray some WD-40 in here, loosen up the grip, and then pull it off. But now I got these from Robbie's Bikes in Stockton. To take off my grips, all I do is I loosen this bolt and this bolt, and you can see it spins, and then if I tighten that, it locks the grip on. So I've already loosened those 2 bolts, so I can slide the grip right off. So I'm gonna do the same over here. You can watch. This one. There we go. So I will just loosen this, because you can see I'm snugging it, it's not moving. But if I loosen that one and this one, you can see the grip starting to move. Slides right off. So simple. Technology is awesome. Now, I've already loosened up these 2 bolts here. So there's one here, and then there's one right there. So I can easily slide this off, and then I'll dangle the brake lines over the tire so they don't get crimped. And now I just have to remove this. Now this uses a different size. We did this one here. If you have a KnightBikeCo stem and you try and use like a, what is it on here? Let's grab my part tool. 9. You'll see it fits, but see that wobble? You'll strip your bolts out. So if you head to Lowe's or Home Depot, you can get the American version. and I loosen and tighten in a star pattern, so crisscross, and that way you relieve the tension on your stem all at the same setting. And then I will drop this forward so I can actually get to the bolts. Now, funny story, I was talking to Todd Lyons, and let's move over this way. Or like, is that better light?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can, yeah, there you go. I was talking to Todd, and he was like, hey dude, is there, I think Craig mentioned something about stems. And Todd, you guys like to mention Todd a lot and how he's not into customer service or whatever, but he really is, because he asked, what would you guys change about a stem? And I was like, you know, the styling, all that stuff looks good. I said, make it a front load, which means instead of the bolts on top, put them here, like an old GT mallet stem or something like that, so that I can get to the bolts easier and I don't have to do this to get to the top bolts, because when I'm trying to tighten, you'll see here in a minute, where I position my bars, these bolts are really hard to get to with a standard Allen key grouping type tool. And he actually screenshotted our text message. He's like, he screenshotted it and made it a wild man reply, and everybody, I appreciate y'all. Everyone jumped to my defense, like, hey, he's just trying to offer advice. When in reality, Todd was really trolling me. And so that was okay. So I've taken the top off. I'm telling my story and I forget. I take the top off. This just slides out of that channel, and your handlebars go in here. Now this might seem kind of basic to a lot of you, but maybe, you know, you haven't done this before and it's scary or something. So that's the reason I'm walking you through this. Now, these are the bars I'm putting on. These are the Jakob Santos 4-piece bars. You got 1, 2, the piece I'm holding on to, 3, and then 4. I love these bars. These are the bars that I run on my PK Ripper. Those are the 2-piece. These are the 4-piece. They're the exact same handlebars, only this is a 4-piece model. The only thing I've done to these is I have sprayed them with clear coat, even though Arizona is a really dry area and we don't get a whole lot of moisture in the air. I still spray them, because if you don't, they can rust because it's bare metal. So when you get them, what I do is a light sand, dust all the sand off, and then without touching them, hang them and spray them with clear coat, because if you touch them, you're going to get oil from your hand and that'll get on the bars. So a lot of trust right there, because it's just balancing on my. So here I've got the bolts already in. I'm going to set that on top. I'm actually going to grease them real quick because I haven't done that in a minute. So fill with grease. Probably one of the things, this is one of the things that I never did as a kid and wish I would have, because it would have made my life easier. You can see I'm just putting some grease on the threads. To make it easier to not only work, but now I've got grease on all the threads. But what this does is prolongs your parts, because anytime there's metal on metal, it's not good for, let me just push it in there, it's not good for your parts, and adding a little bit of grease goes a long way. When I was a kid, man, I used to think, oh, that's just going to make it so it loosens up easier, and it doesn't. It's just a good way to maintain your parts, because you pay a lot of money for your parts, you don't want them jacked. So set that on top. I kind of straighten it out, get the thread started, And because my wife is here filming, I'm not going to rub my greasy hand in my pants. I'm rubbing it on the tire instead. Normally I just rub it on my pants. And then I get yelled at later. Okay. So, and before, I'm doing this slowly so my bars kind of stay a good area. And if you notice, like, this is still super loose, and I'm already moving to this one, getting it just so it's below the cap, so the screw is just below the top of the cap here, because I want it to stay loose while I adjust the front and the back pull, meaning the position of the handlebars. But you want to have even pull on all sides. So this one, because it's the last one, I'll go a little bit tighter, and then I'll immediately go up here and tighten this one to about the same. It's kind of tedious. I don't know if you can see the wobble there, but this will also make sure that you have even strain on all 4 bolts, so that you don't put too much strain on the bolt and crack or break one of your bolts. So this is where that front load stem, Todd, would be really handy, because now I'm doing this. It takes a lot longer. Okay, so they're loose, but I can still move them around. What I like to do is look at where my handlebar, like my forks, the angle of my fork and the angle of my bars are somewhat close. Now, I've done that in the past, and I know that's too far, so I'm going to set them about there, and I'm not going to torque them down. I'm going to give them about a quarter turn just to hold them in place a little bit, and then once I get the bike off the stand, I'll feel where they're at, and if I like where they're at, then I'm good to go. My pet peeve, and what I make fun of people for doing, is when they run their bars super far forward, like way up here. It's just, I don't know why it bothers me, it does, so I laugh about it. So this is the rear brake. So the rear on my bikes, the way I run them, go on the left side. Let's see if that's gonna fit. And then I will slide that down the bar to about there, and then I can bring it back towards the grip in a minute. Now, the front cable, that's still probably a little bit. There it goes. And it's, if you look down here, I have a bit of a divot because I'm not gentle with my bikes. I tend to fall doing my, like when I try flatland tricks, and last time I rode these bars was on my PK. So if I'm gonna fall, I throw my bike, I'll be honest with you. I'm like, throw it away, jump down. All right. Last, I will throw the grips back on. They slide right on to the end, and then I'll slide these back. I'll slide the brake lever back over. It's this one side has a burr. I can feel it there on the bottom. There it goes. All right. think it's this one. I'll use the right size to tighten it. Oh. There we go. And I'll just tighten that bolt, and even just see now I can move it. Tighten it half turn, stop moving in the back. Get this one. Get that snug, it's not moving. I like to run my lever right next to my grip. Right there. I don't know if you're supposed to do the outer edge or the inner edge first. I don't think it really matters, but I could be wrong. You don't have to really torque these. I just go until it's kind of tight, and you can hand test it, see like, is it going to move on that side? It's not. And that's not moving there. Move the lever back down. There we go. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll use the park tool. I run my levers kind of loose because I like to move them up and down as I ride. So I'll run them to where I can like kind of press. If I need them lower, I can press down, or I can reach over and pull them back up. You can kind of, I don't know, I've done it a lot, so I have a feel for how I like to move them. All right. And the final step is I will move around, pull the bike down. Get a feel for where the bars are at. I'd say that's pretty good actually, so I'll do my last little bit of tightening. And again, star pattern, bottom, to me, when I'm looking at my bike, bottom right, top left. There we go, and that is tight. And that is how you swap out the pair of handlebars. Now I've got a fat quad with my Jakob Santos 4-piece handlebars. I'll see you later.